When somebody is interested over a longer period of time and willing to focus over a longer period of time to summon more clarity, it's more satisfying, isn't it? Yeah.
Actually, that was my question, as in, what keeps you going for this length of time with that much curiosity, eagerness, enthusiasm?
You're talking about Abraham or Esther?
About Esther.
Well, for Esther, there is nothing more satisfying than these moments where she knows for sure that she's tuned herself to the frequency of Abraham. And then Abraham is able to chew with you on the things that are important to you. It's that seamless feeling of energy flowing with no resistance. There is just not a more delicious experience to be had. The thing that makes this interesting is that the step 1, step 2, step 3 part of the process of creation is all happening all at once here, because you all are bringing the step 1 to it. So you bring the step 1 to the equation. You're asking the things that you're living, the things that are in your vortex. That's what you are bringing primarily to the equation. Abraham brings step 2. In other words, we know what you want. We know where it is. We know what the path between where you are and where you want to be is, you see. And so Esther is the step 3, the allowing part of the equation. In other words, she's practiced the vibration that keeps her conditions out of the experience that allows this whole thing to take place. This is a demonstration of what you all are about all day, every day, you see. So Esther, as she is moving through her life experience, is asking. Life is causing her to ask constantly, and therefore expanding. And, of course, Source answers the expansion immediately, so then Esther's work is always to come into alignment with what she's asking for. And so, for Esther, the reason that this matters to her is because she is experiencing that intoxicated feeling of alignment that she wishes it for everyone. And she wishes it consistently for herself, too, you see. It's that you can't go back sort of feeling. That once you experience clarity, confusion will never again do. And once you experience unconditional love, then conditional love never again will do. Once you are consistently in a vibration of alignment, misalignment just will not do. And so, what it really is, and it's true for all of you, there is a trajectory that you translate into the word path. And it's just as simple as this. When you figure out somehow, some way to release enough resistance, to allow yourself enough realization to find your path, when you find that path that keeps unfolding, that path that keeps calling, and you stand in the absence of should I, shouldn't I, but just the feeling of the path. That's what calls Esther. It's that feeling of the path. She couldn't find those words as clearly a relatively short period of time before. What's happening for Esther, and for many of you as well, this sequence of conversation has put her in a place of clarity and joy beyond anything that she had ever lived before, or beyond anything that she even anticipated living before. In other words, you can't really know it until you're living it. But it was this sequence of understanding. She got the concept of law of attraction, you all do, pretty easily. When we added the word momentum to that, it moved it into another place of understanding. It was quite easy to understand that momentum is about law of attraction, just adding energy to something. She already had come to understand from years before through our conversations about the emotional guidance system and what negative emotion means and what positive emotion means. So the idea of emotion was already well integrated within her. But when we began talking about law of attraction and momentum and the trajectory that that accomplishes, a new thing sort of clicked into place for Esther with the understanding of trajectory. And then when we began dovetailing the intentions that you hold from non-physical, she began to understand that there's always been a trajectory for everyone. There is a trajectory that you could even call a path. There's this path of intention that you were born with, that you've been adding to as you've been sifting through variety every day of your life experience. So you are dovetailing these trajectories with this dominant path. Are you sort of getting the sense of this? And anytime you find something and it blends with that dominant path, you feel pure positive energy. If you find something and you feel uncomfortable about it, it means it's not blending with your path. Suddenly guidance started feeling entirely different to Esther. And then it became easier for her to let go of the conditions that she thought she needed to sort and manage and manipulate and control. It became easier for her to let go of those conditions because she then understood that she had been sifting through those and had come to conclusions as a result of those that she had put into her vortex. She understood that there was no possibility that she was a mere puppet on a string. She understood that she was a powerful creator who had come forth into this physical experience on a path or a trajectory that when she finds herself in vibrational alignment with it, she feels glorious. And any deviation from it, no matter how great or how small, is just not good enough. So then she began coining words, not necessarily when we were flowing through her. She began observing of herself and saying about herself, and we've repeated it because we find it humorous and accurate. She began saying, I'm finding myself to be a sort of vibrational snob because I am less and less willing to regurgitate those old beliefs that I've picked up along my physical trail that no longer allow me to be on my path. Her path has become the most important thing. So it's really interesting that you say, what is it that inspires or motivates Esther or makes Esther want to continue this? And we say, how could it be any other way for any of you? You have this path that is unfolding, that you are creating and unfolding. In other words, you're putting it out there and then you're finding it, and you're putting it out there and then you're finding it. It is so compelling. When the path feels to you like it is just appearing beneath your feet, when that angst and that controversy and that confusion and that I don't know what way to go is gone from your experience because you've learned how to just take a simple handful of ideas and make them work for you. So what are those? Law of attraction abounds, and it will cause momentum. And when you think a thought, momentum will ensue. And when you think a thought, the source within you is thinking a thought about the same thought that you're thinking. And when source is thinking about the same thought you're thinking, and you are in vibrational alignment with that, then you're on your path and you feel wonderful. And the energy that creates worlds is flowing through you. And what you're doing here and now is meaningful. It's magical. It's unfathomable to those who haven't learned to tap into it. In other words, your ability to focus and accomplish is just off the charts. Everything that everybody wants is about this. Whether it's a material object or a pile of money or a relationship or a place or a circumstance or an event, everything that everyone wants is because you believe you would feel better in the having of it. You believe that in the finding of that you will then be on your path. So then Esther began to understand that it isn't about looking around out there for the path and then figuring out how to get her way to it. It's about creating an atmosphere that allows the path to be inspired through her, you see. To know when you're on your path. To know it unequivocally, to know it undeniably, to know it with certainty. Because, ask yourself the question, which feels better, clarity or confusion? Which feels better, certainty or uncertainty? Which feels better, loving yourself or not? Which feels better, feeling your value or not? Which feels better, knowing who you are or not? So Esther's just been playing our silly games long enough. Yep. Every process that was ever devised was first offered to Jerry and Esther, or the two of them. And every process, she played with it until she received the vibrational benefit of the process, you see. Until she is not at the end of her work here. She's not at the end of her discovery. None of you ever will be. you could be in a physical life experience, and you could conceivably find enough alignment here in this physical life experience that you could continue to find new things about this physical life experience that inspire you, that you could remain in your bodies long after most people are not remaining in their physical bodies. In other words, if this time-space reality has the wherewithal to inspire within you desire, then this time-space reality has the wherewithal to give it to you, provided you are on the vibrational wavelength that allows it rather than disallows it, you see. No exceptions. And so we are appreciating your awareness of the eagerness that Esther feels for her work. And now we will speak about our eagerness about this work, because when there are more and more of you who are consciously recognizing our intertwining with you in the day-to-day things that you are living, those thrills that you feel are the thrills that we are feeling, you see. We are so all in this together. We are so all in this together.